Hello, everyone. This is Tim with Freight Master Resources. Today, just kind of wanted to do a little bit of a chat. I invited Mike on here with me. Mike, welcome to the show.
How you doing? Thank you.
Oh, I got to turn you off over here. Do you have your mic on your phone? Or probably after I hang up, then it'll do it. Let's just test that. I should have done that ahead of time. Okay, are you still there?
Yeah, I got you, brother.
Okay, all right, cool. All right, so yeah, just kind of wanted to jump on here with Mike, and rather than just me typically spewing, everything from a broker's point of view, Mike's a owner operator, and just figured we'd have us a chat. We do have the live comments that are open. So if you guys have any questions, comments on anything, by all means, feel free. So Mike, you've been in the industry for how long? 39 years, you said?
39 years. This March will be 40.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you run refrigerated freight?
Mostly produce, meat, ice cream, but yeah, mostly refrigerated. Every now and then I'll take a van load if it's paying good.
Okay. Yeah, so like we've had a couple of phone calls here lately, and I mean, some of the stuff we were talking about, I just felt like, we really kind of needed to share some of this, with kind of what's going on in the industry, how
There's
things
a
have
lot.
changed. Yes, sir, there sure is. So like we were kind of talking there toward the end about the AB5.
Oh, well, yeah. Not a good deal at all. AB5 is basically canceling out all your lease contractors, and they've started that in California, and now they want to go nationwide with it. And if they do that, that is going to put a lot of people under. I mean, you have people that have bought in trucks and can't afford trailers. They're in the process of trying to build up to buy a trailer, but they haven't reached that point yet. So you have companies like Landstar. Landstar is, you lease on the Landstar, they find you a load, you rent one of their trailers for a monthly fee. That's all going to be gone. That's all going to be gone. The government wants it to either you have your own business up and running, all your equipment, or you are a company driver. Now, a company driver, they make 6,000-7,000 a month gross, probably take home about 5, and that's a good driver, been around for a while. You're limiting people now. The government wants control of our industry. Um, all this self-driving the Green Deal. A lot of people think it's for pollution. I believe, and I could be wrong. You don't have to agree with me, but I believe it's for taking over trucking. Okay, if you look at what the Green Deal consists of, you're just doing a trade-off on pollution. I mean, where are you going to bury all these batteries at? How are you going to get rid of them when they go bad in the trucks? What they don't tell you is the nickel that is used in these batteries is being mined in the rainforest. So they're cutting the rainforest down. Now I'm 57. When I was a kid, cutting the rainforest down, there was a big issue about that because it produces most of the world's oxygen. So, how did we even get to where they're cutting down the rainforest to mine this nickel?
Right.
It's just, if you do all the studying on everything, you're not eliminating pollution. You're just creating it in a different way.
Right.
So I think it's comes down to the government wanting control of one of the biggest industries in America. Without trucks, nothing runs. Nobody eats. The stores don't get stocked. Everything in your house came on a truck at one point or another. Yes, it can come by plane, train, ship, but it takes a truck to get it from that plane, train, or ship to market. The government knows this is a big piece of pie and they want it. Autonomous trucks. Okay, that's just a whole nother ball game that I don't agree with. Like we were talking before, an autonomous truck. is programmed by man. Well, man is subject to errors, we all know. So what's going to happen when you have all these autonomous trucks driving down the road and something fails, a sensor fails? Not to mention, you're going to take a good paying job and they're going to make it a minimum wage job because they're going to say, well, you don't have to do nothing but sit there and watch the truck drive. It'll do all the work.
Right.
So, it's just not a good deal to me, brother. Do I think we can improve trucking in a lot of ways? Yes. But I don't see what they're doing to improve trucking. I see it as a government takeover. A lot of people argue that point, and they have that right to. And just because I've been in business for 39 years doesn't mean I know everything. It means I've been doing it for 39 years. Obviously, I was successful. For me, how you run a truck, how another driver runs a truck, we all run our trucks different. What I do might not work for somebody else. What they do might not work for me. It's just one of those things. But I will tell you, I do not think trucking is headed in a good direction. I think the old ways of trucking are gone. We're like dinosaurs. Would I like to see it come back? Yes. But you cannot get enough people on the same sheet of music to even make a dent.
Right.
A strike here and a strike there, that's just a grain of sand hitting the floor. You need the whole beach before anybody's going to take you serious.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, they did
Um,
that back in the 70s, didn't they?
yeah.
I mean,
Well,
almost everybody shut down, I thought.
they did, but and then you'll hear a lot of old timers and a lot of people talk about deregulation. Well, when deregulation happened, the government knew the impact it was going to cause, not at that time, but years down the road, and now they're capitalizing on it. It's kind of like it's a setup. Okay, they've gotten it to this point to where the way things are now with the economy, the prices on everything with inflation, the fuel cost, I mean, it used to cost me a quarter tank of fuel on my truck and I hold 300 gallons. It cost me maybe 650 to fill it up the rest of the way from quarter tank. Now you're looking at $1,000 to 1,100. If you had to put the full 300 gallons in, you're looking at about $1,500 a fill up. That's an every other day thing.
Right.
The loads aren't paying, and you've heard people gouge brokers. Brokers are gouging us. Well, some are, some aren't. Um, there's good brokers. There's bad brokers. There's good truck drivers. There's bad truck drivers. What people don't understand that are coming into this business or have recently got into it, you have entered into one of the dirtiest and most scandalous businesses there are. Okay.
Right.
If you let yourself get eaten up, you're going to get eaten up.
Well, and yeah, and like I had mentioned to you, I mean, because I am a broker, like I had a customer last Tuesday send me over a load that I know pays $2,500 is what it should pay to the truck, and they wanted me to try to move it for 14. I mean, it was roughly 1,000 miles. There's no way. There's not enough money in it for me to send out to one of my regular carriers, let alone for me to make $1 on it. The only one that's prospering is the shipper.
Exactly.
And I turned it down. I said, you can find somebody else for this. I can't do it.
And unfortunately, there's a lot of that going on right now. And then because of the broker side of it, and your guys aren't really making all that great of money, but you got to get rid of it. Like the other guy you had happen where he rebrokered your load and wanted to pay, what was it, $1,400 or $1,500 more than what it was paying. Well,
Right.
that right there, I mean, somebody's going to pick that load up as a double brokered load, and whoever hauled it, he's not getting paid. Okay, when you look at the DAT load board and you see everything going and to where you're looking at in a $2,800 range, and something comes across for 4,000, you got to be asking yourself some questions. Where's this coming from? and we'll see what kind of research I can do on this load and call and talk to people. Okay. A lot of times phone numbers aren't going to match up. So what you do is you call the shipper and you say, hey, I see, is this load available going from here to here? This is the pickup number. Yeah, that's our load. Okay, I brokered this load from so and so. Oh, well, that's not the broker we had it for. Well, that I'll tell you right there. Stay away from it. You're going to get ripped off. And there's a lot of that going on in this industry right now. I mean, it's gotten so tight that everybody is looking to get over on somebody just to make a buck.
Yeah.
And that's killing everybody. It didn't used to be this way. Okay, myself, you saw the problems I had trying to hook all this stuff up. I'm not computer literate. Like I said, I'll tell everybody out there, I get on the DAT load board, I find a load, I call the broker, I haggle it out with them, but everything goes to my wife. She does all the computer stuff. She keeps all the records for our company, everything. Me, I basically find a load and drive, you know? So getting into all the computer stuff and knowing all that and how it works, that's all a different mindset. And it's it was a learning experience for me this morning. Okay. Something I should know, but I'd never had to do it. Well, you have a lot of truck drivers that have come into this industry that don't know what they're in for. They think, oh, my unemployment ran out. I got a student grant to go to truck driving school. This is where they sent me. I got to stay with the company for a year to fulfill my requirement. While I'm here, I see all these owner operators at these truck stops. Some of them have nice trucks, this and that. They talk to us, what kind of money do you guys make? We give them a gross for what we do, talk to them a little bit about it. They think, well, if I go buy my own truck, I'm going to make some good money. That's not the case. It's not the case at all. Having a truck and a trailer is just the very beginning. What do you do with it once you got it? You got to know how to use it. You got to have a game plan. You got to have a good fuel system, for a fuel card. You got to go shopping for your fuel. Don't just pull into every TA or every pilot, every Flying J and fill up. Here's the fuel card. They'll give me $100 back off each tank of fuel, whatever. No, it don't work that way. You got to really count your P's and Q's to make it all work for you. And like I said, it's different for everybody. What I do and what works for me may not work for somebody else. I happen to be cash positive, excuse me. I don't have a truck payment. I pay my insurance. I pay my DAT low board, stuff like that. But people that have their household to run, they have truck payment, a trailer payment, fuel payment, DAT payment, insurance, you're looking at a large chunk of money. And in this business, it can go a lot quicker than it comes in, really fast. They don't know what they're getting in for. They have
and there's brokers too that'll take advantage of a carrier with brand new authority because most won't work with them.
Well, that's just it. You got to get hooked in with somebody like TQL, CH Robinson, do a few loads for them, maybe factor your loads with those two only. I'm not a big fan of factoring either. Okay. Right. Why do I want to pay somebody the money I'm working hard for? At the end of the year, that totals up to anywhere between $28,000 and $40,000 that you're giving away in factoring fees.
Well, and you can get quick pay if you needed it rather than factoring. You know what I mean? And it's the rate's about the same. Typically.
Right. I did factor when we first started, and I factored with CH Robinson and TQL, and I pulled a few of their loads just to keep money generating. But everybody else, I waited that 30, 35 days for the check to roll in. And then once I got built up, I canceled my factoring deal with CH Robinson and TQL. I still use both of those companies every now and then. I have a lot of brokers that I've been with for a long time, and you have to build relationships in this industry. You have to have the mindset that, hey, I'm giving you life, give me life, so we can both keep going. Like if I took a load from you, and we talked about this the other day, I want you to make money off of it. If you're making money off it, I'm making money off of it. Okay, we're keeping each other going. we're both
Right.
being successful. This robbing Peter to pay Paul, you're both going to go broke. Both. It doesn't work.
Yeah, and that's kind of always been my goal. I mean, as a broker, is to kind of create that, well, I call it a happy marriage between all three parties, between the carrier,
Exactly.
myself, and the shipper.
Exactly.
If one of those is missing, then it doesn't work. It doesn't last. You know.
No, and you'll know because you'll probably never hear from that guy again. You
Right.
know, or he'll never hear from you again. I mean, I've got people that call me up that I've known for 20, 25 years. Hey, Mikey, what are you doing? Where are you at? I'm over here. No, I can't be there today, but if you can hold it till tomorrow, I can make it there. But you know, providing it all works out money wise for me and for you, and what can we do here? I do not want to see any. I don't want to see nobody go under.
Right.
Anybody that goes under, that that the government's just one step closer to controlling this industry. And if you have no competition, then you own it. And that's what I feel the government wants. They want to cut down the competition to own the industry. This leasing deal we were just talking about, do you
Yep.
realize how many trucks are out there that people have a truck but not a trailer? They're not even close to being able to buy a trailer. Well, they're gone.
There's a lot.
They're gone.
Yep.
If this law passes, they are gone. So what happens? Even if they're still making payments on their truck, can't use the truck because I don't have a trailer. So guess what? What gets repossessed? Now you've lost everything.
Yeah.
Uh, your companies like Landstar and the bigger ones, the other ones that do it. There's a bunch of them out there. There's millions of them. They're all going to be gone. How many trucks is that taking off the road? Well, you took them off the road. Now what happens? Let's pump the big companies up with more drivers. And what people don't realize, you've heard for how many years have you heard there's a driver shortage? There is no driver shortage.
Right.
If there was a driver shortage, truck stops would be able to find a parking spot. Now, if you're not at a truck stop by 5:30, 6 o'clock, chances are you ain't getting one. Rest areas, they're full. But don't park on the on ramp or off ramp. Okay, you can't do that. Not supposed to, but what are you gonna do? California, in the state of California, Northern California will let you park on the on ramps and off ramps. Southern California, Bakersfield, going down to LA, you can't do it. They'll write you a ticket, or they'll come up and wake you up in the middle of the night and say, "Hey, if you go down the road, make a right turn, then make another right turn. That's county property. It's legal to park anywhere out there." But you know, you don't know this as a truck driver from out of state. You're just trying to shut down and get off the clock before it expires.
Right. Yeah.
And
That
you get
ELD tells you to
and
stop. You got to
yeah,
stop.
and that little thing, red light comes on and says violation. You know,
Yep.
they don't care about that. That's all money in their pocket. It's kind of like when I lived in California, I rolled through the scales because I will not buy pre-pass or none of that. I'll roll through the scales, and they don't want to stop you because you're from California. Your truck says California plates. Now that I live in South Carolina, I go back to my dad's house to visit him, and I get pulled in every time I go through the scales. And these people know me. They've known me for 20 years, but it's got a South Carolina plate on it. They want out of state money. It does no good to take in state money. Well,
Right.
if you think about it, it does no good to take anybody's money because we're all from the same, United States of America. You're you're taking from Peter to pay Paul. You're not gaining anything. So it's a racket. You got to look out for stuff like that. But my biggest thing is all these people that come into trucking thinking they're going to make big money. How many times has anybody out there went to a company, went to orientation, they put you up in the hotel. After orientation's over with, after your training with the trainer's over with, they put you back in the hotel and you wait there for a week because they don't have a truck for you. But you walk past the classroom and the classroom is still full. Another 70 people coming in. Why is this? I mean, why do they keep taking in more people when they got people waiting? Because they're getting government funding for that. They're getting equipment breaks. They're getting insurance breaks. That's why they dropped the speed limits down in most of these trucks to 65. It's a big insurance break. They're getting all kinds of stuff from the federal government for these programs. You think England's making money out of movement break for $1.50 a mile? No. Well, they are because they have an abundance of it. But they're making a lot of money from the student program too. The bad part about it is now you have a trainer teaching another student, and the trainer's only had his license for 6 months. What do you know in 6 months about driving a truck?
Not enough.
Exactly. And for anybody that's out here that is listening, how many times have you been sitting in a truck stop, got there 4 o'clock, okay, got me a good spot, but you don't go to bed until about 9 or until both stalls on each side of you are filled up? Because you'll see a truck drive through the parking lot 5 times. He's looking for a pull through because he doesn't want to back in because he can't back up.
Right.
So you don't go to bed until somebody is sitting next to you. I know this because I've had the front end of my brand new truck ripped off.
I remember that.
Yeah, to the point now I get out and help people back in. I've even, hey, get out of the seat, brother. Let me back this in for you. It'll be done in 5 minutes and we can both go to bed. And everything's good. And some people actually let me do that, Tim. Hey, thank you, brother. I appreciate what you're doing. I'm having a hard time. But the people you see driving around the parking lot, like I was saying 5 times, they're looking for a pull through because they don't want to try and back up. Well, back is 90% of the job.
Yeah, how you gonna make it to the dock if you can't?
Exactly. I don't know how many times you have seen it because I mean, I don't imagine you get out to a truck stop too often with all the stuff you got to get done and everything you got to get covered. But as a truck driver, that's an everyday occurrence. Man, that truck's passed by me 5 times. What's he doing? Why don't he just park? He's scared to back up. This is what you have driving on the road. It's not good. No, I'm not saying everybody's like that, but there's a large majority that is like that. And that's because trucking is declining as far as how it's not trucking anymore. It's a money game for these big companies. Just put a warm body in the seat. We're good. That truck's making money.
Yeah.
Not really. Not really. The other thing is on truck drivers. How many times are you driving down the road and you see the same truck pass you 5 times in a day? Like going from Nebraska, starting in Wyoming in the morning, you get through Nebraska, then down in Iowa and into Kansas City, and this truck's passed you 5 times. He's on the same route as you. Why? Because he's stopping at every truck stop. Well, by the end of the day, I guarantee you I'm going to be farther ahead of him. So you have to truck smart if you want to make money. But people don't even realize this anymore. Trucking has gotten so far out of touch to where it's just somebody sitting behind a seat. Okay, well, those are the people. If that's what you want to do, I'm not going to tell you how to run your rig, but you should stay a company driver because you're going to go broke as an owner operator. I just believe the level we have coming into trucking these days isn't what it used to be. And that's all the way down to your food. Used to be, go to mom and pop's restaurant, you order a plate, you got good food. Now you're eating all pre-made stuff. Throw it in the deep fryer. Boom. Throw some gravy on top of it. Boom. Serve it to them. Well, okay. And the best way to tell if you got good food or bad food, and hopefully it doesn't happen to you in the wintertime when you're parked on the back 40 and 2 o'clock in the morning comes and you got to make that run to the bathroom because that food don't stick with you no more. It's bad
I'm not
food.
going to call out any names or dime this place out, but they actually microwave their hamburgers down there, and like it's crazy.
Oh
It's
yeah.
absolutely crazy.
Um, I try and bring like my wife will cook stuff and freeze it. And so I can actually put stuff in the freezer part and then on the bottom, I store it down there too, and it stays froze down there for about probably about 2 weeks. And I got enough food in there for about 2 weeks, but the other 2 weeks I'm eating the garbage. So that part kind of stinks too, but it's gone all the way from driving, all the way in every aspect, all the way down to the food. It's just changed. It's totally different. I don't know. It, Trucking it's a different world than when I first started.
For sure.
Um, I get people now. Hey, I want to get into trucking. What can you tell me? I want to buy a truck. Wait a minute. First off, do you not see what's going on? This is not the time to be buying a truck or a trailer and paying what you got to pay. I mean, what my insurance is in 39 years and no accidents. Right now, my insurance is 1,100 a month. A new driver getting a new truck, a new trailer, he's probably looking at 22, maybe higher, plus the trailer payment, plus the truck payment, plus the fuel payment, plus the insurance payment, the DAT low board payment, whatever it takes to run your business. And then you still got to come up with the money to cover your family and your household. Wow. Hello?
Yeah, and especially with the way the market is right now, and the
What you,
way it's probably going to end up being in 2023, if not for the whole year, probably a majority of it.
I
Right?
look,
You've got a lot of outgoing expenses, new authority. You don't have any relationships built, so you're basically at the mercy of the spot market. You're going to go
exactly.
under very, very quickly.
Well, I looked at loads today. I mean, I'm sitting at home I'm home because I want to be home. It ain't paying. I'm not going.
Right.
But I looked at loads today and I covered a bunch of lanes. I looked from Gaffney, South Carolina, going to Texas. Should pay about 3 grand, 32. They're all the way down to 16. Texas, McAllen area up to Seattle, Portland. You can get 6 grand. And I've done 7 and 8 in the past, but 6 is still kind of pushing it. But the fuel is going to kill you. That's where you're going to lose. I've looked from Seattle, Portland, Yakima, hauling apples and pears back is normally what I usually do. And coming all the way back to Carolina, I mean, I've been anywhere from 9 to 12 grand in the past. They want to pay 6, 7 grand right now. You're looking at probably a $2,200 fuel bill, easy. Call it 2,500 to be safe. If you have a truck that gets good mileage, I get 7s, depending on the weight of my loads. But 43 and above, I can get 7s out of it. Under 40, I can get 7.5, 8.2. So I can do okay. But still, that's a major fuel bill. You're cutting your gross down each loop by total is about 6 grand for that whole loop. That don't make sense. And you want to come into this industry and you want to pay that money for a new truck? You can't do it. You just can't do it. If you live in the truck, you might stand a chance. If you don't have any household bills, you'll be all right. But if you have a family, no. Fuel has started to come down here in Carolina. It's 4.83 right now at the TA down the road in Spartanburg.
Okay.
So that's a good sign. That's still getting gouged compared to what we used to pay. But California hasn't come down really. I mean,
No.
diesel fuel is still over five. West Coast is still over 5 a gallon. Portland, you can get fuel cheap if you have the PUC, but what nobody realizes is that PUC costs you a $2,000 bond. Yes, you get that bond back after a year and a half, Um, but you're still getting charged every time you go into that state. Okay, $115 for a permit. That, you know, it all comes, and then your IFTA and everything. So it's not cheap fuel. You'd be better off in some cases buying fuel in California or in Arizona, and they're both high priced too. So unless you really got everything narrowed down, that whittled down is to bare minimum in every category, you're going to sink. And just one category, it can knock you off the board, dude. And the government knows this. This is why it's like this. Go electric. Do you know what the cost of an electric truck is? Electric truck is $350,000 to $500,000, like we were talking earlier. What's the down payment going to be? What's your monthly payment going to be? And for how long are you going to be able to make payments on it? Is it going to be the same, you know, basic program of a 5-year, 72-month deal? Well, okay. If it is, you double the price. So you're looking probably about a $5,000 payment for a truck a month.
Yeah, 55, I think, is what we averaged it
Yeah,
out
are you 55 plus your fuel bill, plus your insurance, plus your DAT low board, plus whatever it takes to run your company? What's left?
Yeah, you barely get started. You got 10 grand a month outgoing right there.
Easy
Yeah.
10 grand.
Yeah.
Easy. It's just I do not wish that on anybody. Okay. So coming into this industry right now, I think it's a big mistake.
Right.
You want to get into it. Okay. Go to work for somebody. Learn the game for about 5 years. Because once you jump from that bracket to an owner operator, you're learning a whole new game. You think you knew something until that truck's sitting in your driveway and stuff's piling up bill wise, and you're not making enough because you don't know what you're doing.
Well, and I would agree with the same as well as a new broker with new authority coming into the industry right now as well.
Oh, I would say that too. I mean, how do you guys get your accounts?
Right.
You know, you got to start somewhere, but it's probably a very narrow field of where you can start with because you haven't built anything up with anybody. Nobody knows you.
Right.
So
Well, and I've tried to mentor, you know, some new brokers in the past, and I mean, there's always one of the biggest challenges that they always typically seem to face is cold calling. You know what I mean? Reaching out to customers. They'd rather try to email, or, you know, they think that they're just going to call and say, "Hey, can I get a put on your list?" And doesn't work that way, you know. And right now, with the way the market is, I wouldn't suggest anybody new, regardless of what side of the table you're on, jumping into this right now. Because right now, I mean, unless you're well established, especially, shippers don't need you.
exactly.
They don't.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I've known a lot of people that were brokers and they've jumped from one company maybe to another company, but they all carried their own accounts with them. You know, this company
Unless they're under a non-compete. Yes, sir.
this company took them in because they had business lined up. All we got to do is put this guy in, let him get going. We got these accounts.
Put me in, coach. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of people do not understand. Just it's not just the truck drivers don't understand trucking or the brokers don't understand some of the brokering, but most truck drivers, you'll hear them, oh, the broker's gouging me, the broker this, the broker that. Hey, man, do you even know what it consists of for them to do their job and how it all works before you're saying they're gouging you? I mean, like we were talking, you can have loads that pay good. You can have a load that you made $30 off of, Tim. 30
Right.
bucks, you know, that's nothing. And then somebody calls you up and says, you're gouging me. Well, wait a minute. Do you understand how trucking works? No, they don't. Their concept was if I buy a truck, I'm going to make big money.
Well, and
No,
I think I had a feeling just on that particular instance, I think that maybe they had run that lane, that same load maybe a few months prior under another broker or something. And, it had been paying better, or maybe even this past spring, that it did pay better. But now the way things are, I mean, my shippers
exactly.
are adjusting their rates to me almost daily,
Exactly.
you know?
It's like playing the stock market. It changes every day. And
Yeah.
it can change 12, 15, $1,700 overnight. You know, that's just the way it is. But people they don't understand this. They went to truck driving school. They got trained by a trainer that had 6 months experience. They did their 1 year in the truck to fulfill the commitment so they don't have to pay the student loan back. And then they say, I'm going to get a truck because that guy over there, he's an owner op. He's got a pretty nice looking Peterbilt. He must be doing pretty good. Maybe they'll come up and talk to you and they ask you this and that, but they don't know what you've been through, how much experience you've got, how long you've been around. They don't understand what you guys do on your end as a broker. They just jump on the bandwagon. Oh, we're getting gouged by the broker. That's you mean to tell me every broker across America is gouging everybody, and that's why trucking's in the state it's in? I don't think so. Why don't we
Well,
about this and look why? You think the brokers are making big money? No. There's been times when brokers do make good money. There's times when truck drivers have made good money. Okay.
right.
It goes back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, it always seems like when the market is down, you hear a lot of that from drivers, carriers. You know what I mean? That the brokers screwing them. But then when the market's up, like I can remember back in 2018 when the market kind of blew up. When the ELD mandate hit, and everything was wild. And carriers were making a lot of money. I was hearing from shippers, from other brokers, oh, these drivers are price gouging us. So it doesn't matter which end of you know what I mean? If the
Yeah.
market's down, drivers are going to complain. If it's up, brokers are going to complain. It's just, the
Well,
reality of it is there's always an ebb and a flow to the market,
you said
for various
you just said
reasons.
one key word, ELD. Why do you think the ELD was designed? My perspective of the ELD, after the government has been preaching a lack of truck drivers and pumping everybody through these schools and everything, they came out with the ELD to mandate everything because the ELD is a way of slowing everything down. Now you actually need more trucks because you've slowed everything down. So it's going to put the trucks that were sitting on the sidelines, it's going to bring them into play. Well, this truck that used to be able to do this load in 2 days, now it takes 3 days by the time you get it off. So he can't be there to pick that other load up. So now we'll bring that truck that's been sitting in the sidelines on, and bring him in to haul that load. It's a way of slowing everything down so they can utilize more trucks. The way I see it, there is no shortage of truck drivers. You know that. You know that. Another way of looking at it, this is to the government's advantage because whenever there's a hurricane or a natural disaster, oh, we waive all the ELD mandates. You guys can just drive and get it there. How come it only works when they want it to work? They're running the show. They're cornering stuff at certain times. I mean,
They did the same thing during COVID. There
ex-
was exemptions.
exactly. To the point of you have people that come out and say, "Oh, you can run 24/7 now. There's no ELD mandate." Well, okay. Number one, that's not entirely true. Not every load is considered to that you can run. You know that. Usually on the bills of lading somewhere, it'll be marked. Somebody will have written down somewhere in case you do get pulled in. The officer can see, hey, this is a time sensitive load. It's going to Hurricane Katrina, whatever, natural disaster. Let it go. It doesn't got nothing to do with apples that are coming out of Washington going to New York City. but a lot of people think it does. And that's because, again, you don't know trucking. You don't know the game that you're trying to play. We talked about this before. How can you sit on the bench and wait for somebody to get hurt? He gets hurt, then you're called into the game. How are you expected to play that game if you don't know the rules of the game? You can't do it. You're going to lose. And that's what's going on a lot. People just don't know. Their concept of trucking is get in the truck, go pick up a load, and haul it somewhere and get paid. They don't understand everything involved in the middle. And when there's a gripe or a complaint or a bitch, in trucking's case, the broker's the easiest one to take the blame. Oh, the brokers are gouging me. He made $2,000 off this load, probably. He dropped the rate to 1,500 when it should pay at least $3,000. That's not always true. Yes, there are some bad brokers. Yes, there's some bad truck drivers. Yes, this is a dirty, scandalous business. But if you don't know the rules, why would you even want to play?
Right.
You're setting yourself up to fail. I can't tell somebody else how exactly to run his business. I don't know what their income is. I don't know what their outgoing bills are. But there's a few simple guidelines that'll help, but they don't enter their mind these days. Just the people that are successful in this business have been doing this for 10, 20, 15. They've been around a while.
Right.
They've been around. Sad part about it is when we're gone, that knowledge is gone too. Kind of like dumbing the kids down in school these days. You can't tell me the kids in school that graduated from school knew what we knew 30 years ago when we got out of school. There's no way.
Right.
There's no way. Our government can't even get on the same sheet of music that the parents control what the kids should be learning, not the school system. I mean, last I remember, the school system wasn't around for conception or birth, but they want to run everything else and how it goes and cut the parent out. Well, that's kind of what's going on in trucking. And with it, a lot of knowledge is being lost. And when knowledge is lost, when knowledge is lost, somebody's benefiting from that. It's not me or you. It's not the truck driver. It's the government. Why? Because they put it all on the play to begin with.
Yep.
Truck driving is it's a painful job, dude. I don't know too many people that are willing to stay out away from their family a month and a half. It's a rough job. It's a rough job. And I'm not saying your job is any easier. Obviously, I mean, you were up for 21 hours straight last week.
Yep.
Just to take care of everything and to make sure everything's right and everything's covered. Everybody's got what they need. They've all got the proper information. They've all got the right pickup numbers. They've all got everything they need to complete that job. But the truck drivers, they don't understand that. They don't even think about that. They think about.
And I can only speak for myself personally, but I mean, I know that I'm sure for you, you feel a responsibility. There's people counting on you, and I feel the same way. Like I can't just say, "Oh, it's 5:00." I couldn't just lay down at night with a clear conscience.
No,
so that's why I do what I do. And
as a truck driver, for me, there is nothing that makes me madder than it's after 5:00. I took a load from a big company instead of one of the brokers that I've dealt with for years. And you call up, you got a problem, but you can't get nobody but after hours. Okay, I understand your after hours. You can't even book a load at a lot of these companies after hours. They'll tell you call back tomorrow. Wait a minute, you got this load that's been posted for 7 minutes going from here to here. I'm calling up to book the load, and you're telling me to call back tomorrow, and the load picks up at 6:30 in the morning. You guys don't come into work till 9. How's this work?
Right.
Hey, look, got a problem out here on the road. I need to speak to my broker. I got to find out what's going on. Oh, sorry, he's gone for the day. No, this is a 24/7 job. You got to be able to get in contact with somebody. I mean, I know I've been woke up many times at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. Hey, are you going to be on time for your delivery? Wait a minute. You got me on MacroPoint, right? I gave you a check call and told you where I'm at and that we were good to go, but I got you calling me. Why?
You new brokers, I hope you're listening to this.
You know, why? Why are you calling me, but you've got me on MacroPoint? It's just, there's no communication anymore. The whole system has broke down somewhere. And I'm only as good as you make me look, and you're only as good as I make you look. It's a hand-in-hand deal. The broker is not my enemy. You got
That's
to take
supposed to be.
no, and it's like everything else in life. There's good and there's bad on every side of everything. Okay, not all brokers are bad. Not all truck drivers are bad. Not all big corporations like C.H. Robinson, let's say, they're not all bad. I've gotten some pretty good loads out of TQL. A lot of people won't touch them. I do all right with them when I use them. It's up to that driver. Hey, I can't haul it for that. I'm sorry. If you can't do it, you can't do it. You don't have to be mean about it. You don't have to be. You don't have to. Well, what are you guys doing? Gouging, blah 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 blah, and collecting. No, you don't have to do none of that. It doesn't fit for you. Hey, I'm sorry to waste your time, sir. It's just not going to work for me. You know, this is what I need. I'm in this range right here. This is as low as I can drop. If you can't do it, I got to move on. I got to find another load for tomorrow. No disrespect to you. I know the rules you're playing by too. Sometimes it don't work. It don't mean they're gouging you. It don't mean somebody's up to something. But you can't formulate anything else in your mind because you don't know enough about the industry. So you're going off of the hearsay. Oh, the brokers are screwing everybody right now. Yeah, I'm sure some are.
Oh yeah.
You know, just like in the aspect of, hey man, this guy truck driver was supposed to be there at 9 o'clock in the morning, but he overslept, or he did this, or he did that, or he didn't run his clock the right way, so he can't start the truck up and start running. He's an hour late. But he didn't call you either. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't he call you? One, because he doesn't want to listen to it because he knows he screwed up. Two, because now you got to make a phone call and try and smooth things over. He's hoping he can just show up and it'll go on under the radar and nobody will know nothing about it. That's dirty in itself, bro.
Yeah.
That would be me doing you dirty.
Right.
No, you can't do that, man. You can't do that.
Well, that kind of brings up, like, that's one of my biggest pet peeves with like independent dispatch services, right? Is because in the past, because I typically don't ever try to call a driver if I can help it, right? Because I don't know when his downtime is on that load, if he's sleeping or what. I preferably try to, and I've got tracking on him, so I roughly know where he's at. I'll call the dispatcher, and if I have questions or if something changed, or hey, I accidentally gave you the wrong pickup number or something, or this, you know what I mean? Things happen. So I prefer to contact them. But in the case of like independent dispatch services, I've had, I didn't reach out to the driver, and I actually should have. Because they said, oh, this load delivers on this date at this time, when in actuality, he's already late. And he goes, man, I had no idea. And I said, they didn't send you a copy of the rate confirmation? Nope. He goes, they just called and told me. And I said, yeah, okay. Or they pick up a load, and then they automatically stop. They'll because they're out of hours.
Exactly.
And I've got it right down on there that this load needs to go straight through. If that's the case, don't take the load. But they'll do you like that, and I don't really blame the driver in that instance, because he was told something different. I was told something different. you know, so I have sort of a love-hate relationship with some of these independent dispatch services, you know.
As far as that goes, like for me, brother, if I take a load from you, I don't care if you got me on tracking or not. You're gonna get a phone call from me every morning. Hey, brother, how you doing? How you doing? Good morning. This is Mike from Mike and Susie. This is where I'm at. Okay, I'm figuring I'm gonna be around this area tonight. I'm gonna shut down. That'll put us like 72 miles away from our drop. I can get up early in the morning, 2 hours. I'm there early.
Right.
You know, um, even a phone call at night, even if it's night dispatch. Hey, this is Mike. Mike and Susie Rush Refrigerated. I am sitting here. I'm getting ready to take my off time. I will start up again at 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm letting you guys know so you don't call me tonight. I'm going to bed. But let my broker know I checked in and let him know this is where I'm at until 7 in the morning. And we're looking good.
Yeah.
And you know what? Doing things like that has gotten me repeat customers. People call all the time, send emails all the time to my wife. Hey, you guys did a great job for us. Are you available for another load? You know, and sometimes it can be a good deal because they might be paying a good. If I'm in the area and it pays good, we're good. You know, thank you. I don't have to look for a load. But the point of the matter is, if you take that extra 5 minutes, be courteous, keep them informed, you're going to find things run a lot smoother.
Yep.
And that person who paid you good money, because obviously it's got to pay me good money to take that load to begin with. And if it don't, it's like I'm sitting home. I'm at home right now. But they're going to want to call you back. Hey, this guy's done a load for us or has done a couple loads for us. He wasn't late. He kept us informed. Call this guy up and see what he's doing right now. See if he's got a truck in the area. See if he may be in Seattle right now, but the load picks up in Portland. Maybe we can hold it a day for him to pick up because we know when we put it on Mike's truck, it's going to be there and it's going to be there on time. It's not going to be damaged. And I do a lot of work that way, bro.
Yep. Yeah, I do that for my regular carriers. I'll see if I can hold a load or see if it can pick up early.
Exactly.
And depending upon what they're paying, like we're close, but we're still not quite in the right ballpark with rates. And I'll talk to my customer and say, hey, look, you know, this is a spot load. You know, can I get you a truck for this? Yeah. I don't know who they would be, but I've got one of my regular guys in the area, but it's going to cost about another $300 more or something. You know what I mean? If you can do it, I would really rather put them on it.
He might have to deadhead 300 miles to go get it for you, you know?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. It seems to work a lot better just if you take that extra 5 minutes to keep them informed, let them know what's going on. I mean, like I said, I've had people hold freight for me. They want it gone on Tuesday. Hey, I can't get there till Wednesday. I got to drop Tuesday morning. Then it's going to take me 5 hours, 4 hours to drive to where you want me to pick up at. By the time I get there, they're going to be closed. Can I go to sleep outside their place and pick it up first thing in the morning? If you can arrange that, I'll be there, brother. As far as the money, if it's a couple $100 off and I've used this broker a million times, hey, bro, don't sweat that $200. I'll take it for you for that, you know, for the price you're offering. Just get me back somewhere down the line. You know, throw me a bone when it's my turn. And it works. But you can't do this if you don't have a relationship built with people. This whole is relationships.
Yeah, I always pay more to my regular carriers. Always.
I bet you don't even remember about a year and a half ago, we first started texting on Messenger, and I had a problem where I got to the dock and they canceled the load and they didn't want to pay me anything. And I hit you up about it, and you were like, "No, they don't want to pay you Tonu, nothing."
They overloaded you, didn't they?
Yeah.
And then they closed the gate. You couldn't go back in to have them adjust it until the next morning.
That's right. I couldn't
I
get back.
remember that.
Exactly. It was in Washington, and it was up in Bremerton, Washington, at a little tiny place I picked up at. And it was like, man, these people don't want to pay me anything. I can't get a hold of my broker. It was a Saturday, and boom, I texted you, and you were right there. From then on, we have been friends on Facebook. We send each other messages. Now we're doing the YouTube deal. But we built something there. Okay,
Right.
off of that one incident, we've built something, and it's been what, a year or two now.
Yeah.
That's how this game is. You build those relationships. You. That's that's a foot in the door, man. That's something that lasts. That's something that goes both ways. It's just not picking up a phone and calling some broker that you've never talked to before, and don't know anything about him or his company. You don't know. He could be straight with you. He might not be straight with you. Now, if you've been playing the game long enough in trucking, you know when somebody, that's just, nah, man, you're not even in the ballpark. You're not even in the parking lot of the stadium.
Right.
Okay. And then, but the new people that come in, they don't know any of this. And they just don't know how to conduct business because they went to the shortcut school of trucking. And
Yeah.
the shortcut school just taught you how to drive it down the road. It didn't teach you what you need to know. Um, Going from a driver to an owner operator, that's a big change right there. You thought you knew something. You thought you knew something because you drove a truck for 2 years, and then you bought your truck and trailer, and now you got all these bills piling up. Why is that? Why aren't you making money? In some cases, they're not even making as much money at the end of the month as they made driving for somebody else. Well, that ought to tell you something right there. I'm doing something wrong. I don't have a grasp on the situation,
Right.
but they don't. They don't enter their mind. It's just your fault. You're the broker. You're screwing me. You know,
Yeah.
I
And
don't.
same could be said about the brokerage side of things too, jumping in without like any kind of prior experience,
Well,
you
yes.
know, no previously built relationships, uh, and that's why a majority of the new brokerages that open up are typically fold within the first 3 to 6 months.
My little brother's wife, she drives a truck. They both drove team. She said, "Well, I'm gonna stay home. I'm gonna open up a brokerage." And my little brother looked at her and said, "What? What do you know about brokering? Where are you going to get all this work from? You think they're just going to give it to you? They don't know you. You can't, it's not just," he told her, his flat out, he said, "No, you're not. You're going to stay in the truck. You're going to drive. That's just something you don't know anything about. And we can't afford for you to try in this venture not knowing what you're doing. Our bills aren't going to go away." So she's thought about it and thought about it. And he's right. I don't know how to. He don't even know how to get into it. As far as going to take this online class, everything's an online class. Just like going to school with a trainer who's only had a license for 6 months. She's going to take an online class and she's going to get all this work, and their money problems are going to be solved.
Yeah.
No, no. He's like, first off, when have you ever gotten something for free? Okay, if you're not willing to work for it, it ain't going to happen. But being willing to work for it is one thing. Knowing what to do for that work is totally different. And she stopped and thought about it, and she said, "You guys are right. I'm going to stay in the truck." Um, I couldn't do what you do, dude. I don't think I have the patience to try and track down all this work and get my foot in the door and put a bid in on this like some of these companies do. Um, there's a lot more to your side of the industry than most truck drivers know. They don't have a clue. Most of them just jump on the bandwagon. It's a broker. No, it ain't the broker most of the time. Sometimes it is. But you have to understand, without the broker, the truck driver ain't nothing. An owner op ain't nothing. And a broker without a truck driver, he got nothing.
Right.
If we can find a way to give each other life, we're both out of job.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know that I could do what you do. That's for sure. You know, yeah, I think there's a lot of brokers out there that couldn't be drivers. You know, they just couldn't.
It all looks good on paper, dude. Are you a football fan? All them X's and O's look good on paper, but and you can have the best players in the league at each position. But if they don't know how to play together as a team, they're not going to win.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the same way it is in trucking. If you don't take the time to build your team and then learn those plays, you're wasting your time.
Yep.
You don't belong in trucking, and I don't want to see anybody get into trucking because I don't want to see them lose.
Right.
You ever heard the lease purchase plan, like from some of the bigger companies? Well, sure. You can think you're going to buy a truck. You can put 20,000 into that truck out of 40,000, 50,000. Then they quit running you, so you can't make the payments, or you can barely pay the truck payment, but there's not enough for your family because you're not getting the miles. Or you finally pay the truck off, and then next month it breaks down on you because you bought a piece of junk. What you did was you paid all the bills. You paid the truck payment. You paid the maintenance bills because that comes out of your maintenance account that all these big companies set you up with. You go, you got a maintenance account. So much of this goes in your maintenance account. You blow a tire, it's paid for. Pop a motor, it's paid for. Yeah, right. That's why when you go to leave these companies, they nickel and dime you for every little ding on that truck, even if you didn't put it there, to where your maintenance account is eaten up. It's gone.
Right.
It's a losing deal. My little brother, he was a trainer at one of the big major companies. I'm not going to mention her name. He'd been a trainer for 5 years. He had a sweet deal set up. He ran from Utah to to Gaffney, Carolina, the town I live in, and then ran back. He got all the trainees' miles and all his miles. The trainee got paid $300 a week. Okay, they bought him a brand new long nose Peterbilt, beautiful truck. It was a nice truck. He was in it for 3 months. Then they called him back to the yard and said, "Hey, we're going to take you out of that Pete we just put you in and put you back in that Freightliner over there." And he said, "No, you're not." He goes, "I've earned that Peterbilt." And he goes, "Number one." He said, "Number two, it'd be nice to be able to teach people in an updated piece of equipment." They said, "No, we got to take you out of it." He said, "Why?" He said, "Because of the way the government funding works. If this guy who's just out of school and just got out of the training phase was to wreck that truck or something happened to that truck would be covered up, would be covered under the government system and would be paid for. If you're in it, a seasoned driver, that rule doesn't apply." So
Really.
yeah, that's why I'm telling you, they got all kinds of stuff coming in from the government, from schooling and all this stuff, from equipment loans to tax write-offs to insurance breaks. They're making money hand over fist off this stuff as long as they follow the government's requirements. My brother, long story short, my brother looked at him and he took the keys out and he put them on the dispatcher's desk and said, "That's it." He called me up. He said, "I'll be in the hotel whenever you get here." I said, "I'm 3 days away." He goes, "Well, I'll be in the hotel. Just come pick me up and get me home when you can." And I said, "Fine, but we got to go this route because I got another load to pick up and everything. But while you're in the truck, you're going to help me drive." And he said, "Okay, no problem. We'll get there that much faster." And I did. I picked him up and he quit. I picked him up and brought him home. That's why I'm saying all this stuff is a government deal, bro. They are making it hard because they want to own trucking. They don't care about me. They don't care about you. They care about, we got the major companies, the major players, and everybody knows who they are, the mega companies. They get out of line, slap them with a $10 million fine, collect that money, and drive on.
Yep.
It's getting hard. Rates, do I think the rates are going to go back up? This will pass. This part of it right here, this will pass. Probably in 2023 sometime. I mean, 2008 and 2010 stunk. It passed. They're just whittling us down right now. When they get it to a certain number, they're gonna wake up and say, "Oh man, we can't afford to cut no more truck drivers down, or we can't haul America's stuff because we're not pumping enough into the schools. The autonomous trucks aren't complete." They already said, if you've been following this autonomous deal, they thought this stuff would already be on the road by now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
thought
I knew that was never going to happen.
exactly, but they thought the autonomous truck would already be on the road by now. And once it is on the road, I guarantee you, a truck driving job is going to go to a minimum wage job, and you're going to get paid by the hour. They're going to say, we're only going to pay you minimum wage because you don't got to do anything but sit in that truck and make sure it don't screw up. So, okay, well, now you've created another problem. Who's going to want to sit in a truck for 70 hours a week and do nothing but wait for the truck to screw up and stay away from home for a month and a half for no money?
Yeah.
They've got it all figured out, and the answer to that is just one thing after the other. Kind of like electric trucks. How many truck stops you see being retrofitted as we speak for charging stations? They didn't tell nobody that each truck stop is basically going to have its own power grid to handle all this stuff. Then they're going to tie that into the power grids we already have that are failing. How's that going to work? Nobody's thought about this, but everybody's made these jumps, these rules, like California. To 2035, 36, no more emission vehicles in California. They've already passed that law.
Yep.
By 2026, they want it chopped down 26%. Okay, 2026 isn't that far off. But you haven't seen any of the groundwork being done for any of this stuff to happen. It's not even figured out how it's going to work. You got trucks supposedly sleeping on a 10-hour break. Let's say they're all plugged into a charger. There's not a spot open in the truck stop, but you still got trucks rolling in off the road that need a charge. Where are they going to charge at? Or are they just going to have to leave that truck stop and try and go to another one and hope they make it and charge up? They haven't figured none of that out yet. How's that all going to work? But it's not a trial and error thing either, because you don't have time to try it. You still got to deliver everything every day. America's still got to roll. But they've made all these rules and laws that they don't have a clue on how to implement anything. That's just another thing I'm looking at. This is all government doing this. This they got it. They want to play the game, but they don't have no game plan figured out.
Cart before the horse.
Exactly. And I don't know. I'm kind of glad in a way that I'm on my back part of trucking. I still like to drive. I love the industry. I like meeting people. But I'm on the back part of it. I got maybe another 5 years and I'm done. I hope to go till I wanted to go till I was 65, maybe 5 years. I'm 58. I'm going to be 58. So call it 62, 63, and I'm done, I think. Yeah. And I won't miss it. I won't miss it because they've killed everything that was good about this industry. And in another 5 years, it's going to be worse. and I'm sorry to say that, and I know I sound negative, but half the people out there ain't seen what trucking was like 30 years ago. You know, um, you get in these arguments with people on Facebook, and it's like, guy, what are you talking about? Every truckers group you got, I don't know if people call them trolls. People just pop off to jump in a conversation that they don't have a clue about what they're talking about. And it's like, you know what? That's the part I'm not going to miss.
Right.
That's the part I'm not going to miss being around, because I don't want to be in that category. I don't know everything. Never will. Never will. But
my wife and I were talking last week. I said, I don't know if I could ever retire. I said, I love this industry too much. And she goes, you will. She goes, you seem to be more and more frustrated with things, almost on a daily, and I kind of laughed it off at the time. But yeah, it may end up getting to that point to where I just, at some point when I'm ready to retire and I might just say good riddance and never look back.
I think me and Susie figure we could probably do it now if we sold the truck and trailer. With the way things are now, the prices of trucks and trailers have gone up because you can't get parts for everything.
Mhm.
And we moved from California to South Carolina, which is a lot cheaper. Okay. And like I said, everything is paid for. We're cash positive. The only thing that keeps me going is I'm not ready to quit yet. I still enjoy trucking and try and tune the bad parts of it out. But when it gets to the point of they've taken everything away from it, I think I'll walk. I'm 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 actually climbing the walls now. I've been home for a while. Like I said, if it doesn't pay, I'm not doing it. And I'm glad that I've busted my butt and worked myself in this position, okay, over the rest of my trucking career to be able to have that option now. What's keeping me going is I still love doing it. But if they make it to where you're just wasting your time, I guess you got to find somewhere else to waste your time at. You know, I- I- and it's sad, dude. It's sad because it's not just trucking. This is a whole different way of life, dude, that most people can't understand. The people that can understand it they're like me. In a way, they're part gypsy, dude. They're here today, gone tomorrow.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of people I have found that the two ends that have the most in common in life are bikers and truckers.
Yeah.
Why? Well, they ride a bike, we drive a truck, but it's that gypsy way of life. You're always seeing something. You're always doing something. You're always meeting somebody. Um, I'm not a people person by all means, but I can go to a truck stop and my wife says, "How come you can talk to everybody at this truck stop for 5 or 10 minutes, but you won't go out and meet a whole lot of new people?" I'm like, because every one of these people is doing the same thing I'm doing. They're all living the same type of life. So chances are we've got something in common. And a lot of them, if it is a BS conversation, be polite about it and shorten it up, and then you're back out in your truck. You'll never see them again, a lot of it. Okay. Before, dude, I'd run up and down across the coast and I'd see 30 or 40 people, whether it be passing, I'm going west and they're going east, and you wave at each other because you've seen them, you've talked to them before. I hardly ever run across people like I used to that I've known, because the industry's constantly revolving. This driver that was here today, he's gone tomorrow. It's that's a sad part of it, you know. The CD used to be, you got on the radio, hey, There's a cop at mile marker 72 sitting on the shoulder. Okay, cool. Thank you. Now, you don't hear nothing like that, but you hear all the racial crap. You hear the politic crap, but nobody tells you about the cop. Truck driver, truck sitting on the side of the road, flashers on. Used to be, hey driver, you all right back there? And if he wasn't, you stopped.
Yeah.
Not no more. You don't hear anybody asking, hey driver, you all right back there? You don't hear none of it. The cell
Everybody's
phone,
on their own.
exactly. The cell phone. Now, this is a bad part of it. Used to be, you dropped your load off, you went to the payphone, you called the broker. He gave you everything you need to go pick up your next load. And it better be right, because if you get there and the load's canceled or you're held up, somebody's paying for it. You know, it's taken care of. Now you get 150 miles after you drop. You got to go 300 miles to pick up. You get 150 miles into it. That cell phone rings 5 times and tells you, oh, your load's not going to be ready. Oh, the load was canceled. What do you mean the load's canceled? Okay, well, I'm 150 miles down the road. Can you help me out with a little bit? You know, I'm not asking for $500, but give me a bill 50. That'll cover my fuel that I just wasted on your load. Oh no, I don't have to pay you anything because I called you and let you know. So the cell phone, I hate the cell phone, bro.
Yeah.
I really do. And the cell phone to me is a distraction. You look at 90% of cars and trucks, okay, and trucks, and you pass by him, and it's like, this guy's, he's in front of you. He's kind of wiggled, swerved down the road a couple times, and it's like, okay, what's going on here? He's not paying attention. He's eating, but 90% of the time, he's on the cell phone texting, bro.
Yeah.
Bro, put that stuff away. You are going to get somebody hurt.
Yeah. It's I don't know.
We talked the other day about MacroPoint and all these links that they have to track you. I don't know how true it is. In fact, I asked you about the other day. I have been told that some of these apps, even though you're not pulling a load for them, if you've accepted to on your phone that they can track you, it can track you even though you're not even on a load for them. And they can tell where trucks are at and where they're not at. They can adjust rates that way. There's too many trucks in this area, so we can drop the rates. Somebody's going to take it. There's not enough trucks in this area. We got to up the rates to get somebody to pull this load.
I think there are some things that can track like your ELD, MacroPoint. That typically stops, at least for us, because that's the one that we use. Once the load's delivered, it stops. You know, we set it for,
Well,
if it's a three days on the load, I set it for 3 days.
what I'm
But
saying is
there's no-
it'll stop tracking you on that load. Yes, because that load's done.
Right.
But I have had on my phone, it said that you might want to shut these apps down to disallow the permissions because it's draining your battery down because it's still somehow something's tracking me. If it
Right.
wasn't tracking me, my battery wouldn't be going dead. So I got to physically go into each app and discontinue tracking of that app until I use that app again. Then I hit the permissions button that says, allows it to track me and everything. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe what somebody told me is true because I'm not on this load and I haven't been on this on anything using Carrier Link, let's say, for a week now, but it's telling me Carrier Link is draining my battery.
Right.
So
That could be.
and it's hit and miss anyway with the way loads are. If there's a way they can tell where these trucks are at, oh, you bet they're adjusting the market. Somebody is, you know.
Right.
The other thing that people don't understand, nothing is being shipped right now.
Mhm.
If the customer can't buy it at the store's not selling any of a certain product, they're not going to order it. If they don't order it, it don't get shipped.
Right.
There's a lot of that going on right now too. People just aren't spending the kind of money they used to because they don't have it. Well, why ship it?
Yeah, I've got customers, they might have anywhere from 150 to 300 loads a day available. Now there's like 10.
Yeah.
That exact same shipper. I mean, you really need to have more customers to have enough available freight uh, for yourself and for your drivers.
Well,
If you
I believe come February and March are going to be a good indicator of what our year is going to be like because November and December and usually part of January are your low months in trucking, period,
Yep.
across the board. And a lot of that has to do with the way they close out the end of year books and stuff like that. You would think Christmas it's going to be booming. It's Christmas. It's got nothing to do with all that stuff. It's got to do with their physical quarters and how they end their books and all that stuff. And normally, those are the slow months. February and March if they're good, I believe we will have a good year. If February and March is slow, look out. Look out. Um, Now, my side of the game, produce, you would think, well, food's got to get shipped. America got to eat. The problem with that is, yeah, but if everybody else, let's say somebody who has a reaper and does meat or flowers, even
Mhm.
if they're slow, I got a reaper. I'm going to go haul produce. So now you've added a lot more produce trucks than what there usually is. So the rates are going to drop. There's too many trucks, not enough loads. Um, we'll find out. We'll find out. Do I think this time period will pass and things will pick up again? Yes. I mean, historically, in my 39 years of trucking, everybody thought 2008 and 2010 was going to break the market. It picked back up. Um, in fact, what 2016, 17, and 18, those were truckers. That's when truckers made money.
Yep.
And you guys took the brunt end of it. Brokers didn't make that much then. They did all right.
Well, we made up for it in volume, or at least I did. Um, I was moving a lot of freight, but my margins weren't anywhere near what they used to be.
Exactly. So you were hoping to do twice as many loads just to get back to where you were. But I believe if we have a good February and March, that's going to set the tone for where trucking's going to be at for the rest of the year.
Right.
Um, we'll find out. I'm hoping we go off with a bang this year. I don't think we're going to completely get over all of this garbage until end of 2023, middle of 2024.
Right.
The problem is a lot of people aren't going to be able to survive.
Yeah, the produce season, I'm kind of curious as to how that's going to play out this season because, when they talked about, with the war in Ukraine and everything, and there was ingredients from fertilizer that primarily came from Russia and
yeah,
everything. I don't know if a lot of that was just smoke and rumor, but it'll be interesting to see how that kicks out because they said, it wasn't what happened this year affected this year. It's what happened this year affects next year.
that's right. Like in California, um, Up north, we have a lot of rice fields up by where my dad lives, up Redding, Woodland, stuff like that, Mount Shasta area. There's a lot of rice fields in that area. Farmer may own 7, 10 fields, but the government tells them you can only plant 3 fields this year. And you have to requisition next year's water this year. Now, what happens if you don't requisition enough or if you order too much water? I mean, do you sell it back to them? Do they give you money back? Nobody talks about that. But the other thing that I have heard very few people take into account, look, the last couple years in produce season, Salinas's produce season was over last year in a heartbeat because the farmers didn't get to plant all their stuff due to the water. I mean, there's no water there. Everything is dried up. Then Mexico. So you after Salinas, you got Arizona and Texas. Now both of those they all come from Mexico. Well, it rained at the wrong time of year. I mean, the crops were in the field already; they were growing, then they got flooded. Everything rotted.
Yeah.
People don't take that into consideration either. That has a lot to do with what's going on, food wise, value wise, shipping wise. If it ain't there, it ain't there. Um, Then you have, oh, the flower industry's tanking, but I got a reaper unit. So I'm going to go haul produce, see if I can make my money back. Well, now you added X amount of trucks to come in for whatever reason, but for a reason like I just stated, and the crops in the fields rotted. Now you're in big trouble. You're in big trouble. I went to pick up a few times last year and it was like, wait a minute. Why am I sitting here for 36 hours because my load's not here? Y'all knew I was coming a week in advance. I mean, somebody knows this stuff's scheduled. Um, well, my load went on somebody else's truck to get him out because he had been sitting for 36 hours because of all the rain. Or the Mexican truck didn't show up because he's stuck. He can't get past the muddy, all the river streams and their roads suck down there. Okay, they'll load 100,000 pounds on a trailer on these roads and just go. Well, if they can't get through, they can't get through. Weather had a lot to do with it last year. Produce took a big hit last year. California's produce season, which is the only major produce season. I mean, California's big. Florida has strawberries, watermelons, stuff like that. Georgia and the Vidalia area has onions, but California has a lot of major produce that's grown in California. And because of the water situation, they just couldn't plant the fields. Lake Shasta, where my dad lives, is the biggest lake in California. It's like got an eighth of what it'll hold in it right now.
Mm-hmm.
It looks almost bone dry. So that's got a lot to do with it too. All we can hope for is that for me, the weather holds up, things get back on track, and right around February or March is when produce is really going to start kicking in one of the areas. If it's a good season down for coming, like let's say it's a good season in Texas, California is going to be good if they can get some water. But you can count on Arizona being good. It just happened to be the last 2 years, all three of them stunk. Stunk. I mean, you go down there and you would drop off and you could take a bad paying load to get out of there, or you could sit a day or two to find a good load. The problem is there's 50 other trucks in those parking lots sitting there. I mean, I woke up a couple days and it's like, oh, you're up. Let's go get some breakfast, dude. Got to eat. But you knew you weren't going nowhere that day. It's not enough to go around. So you add that in with everything else and the government, and you can see what's going on in trucking. I love this industry with all my heart, bro. It's given me and my family everything we have. I like the way of life. You will never hear me say anything that I do not believe to be true about trucking. I like this job so much, but it's getting to be where it's just stay out of it. If you're not already in it, stay out of it. If you're in it, I hope you find a way to stay in it and to make it work for you. But right now it's bad. You don't even think about buying a truck and trailer right now. Don't think about spending 300 grand and think you're going to come in and make money. You're not. You're not. It's just not that way. There's too many trucks out there. There's too much garbage from the government. There's too many overregulated crap. There's too many things that are played one way today and the next way tomorrow. There's not enough knowledge of the industry amongst the people in it like there used to be. It's seems like it's going downhill, but it's going downhill because somebody somewhere is making it go downhill. It's how can you take something that's been in existence since the automobile was made and turn it into this? It's just but America's got more people in it now. Between the people that come over the border, between babies that are being born, between this and that. I mean, seems to me the more people you got, the more trucks you need. But the government tells you there's a shortage of trucks.
Right.
Well, why can't I park anywhere but the side of the road after 5 o'clock at night? Yeah. It's not straight up anymore. It's all somewhere. It's a 3-ring circus, brother. It's a 3-ring circus now. And that's sad. And for somebody like me, it's frustrating. It's heartbreaking. It takes part of my life away, and like you're taking it away and wadding it up in a little ball and throw it in a waste paper basket,
Yeah.
It sucks.
Hey, brother, I kind of hate to do this. My phone and I don't know if you can see that on the screen or not, my email notifications and stuff have just blown up in like the last several minutes here. I think I probably got people trying to get a hold of me. I don't know if it's customers or drivers
No,
or what.
do what you got to do, brother, and I'm sorry I've rambled on about some of this stuff over and over again. It's just, I mean, there's so much to talk about this industry that
I'm loving it, and I really hope that you can come on again sometime for sure.
Oh, brother, it don't matter if it's at night. If you text me, call me, whatever, and tell me, hey, I want to do a show, I'm there for you, bro.
Awesome.
I'm trying to work it. See, I go to California to see my dad because he still lives out there. If it wasn't for that, I probably wouldn't go past Texas. I'm trying to figure out what I can work in so me and you can start working together and try to give each other some life,
And actually, I have a few. I had a few follow-up phone calls. One is at 3:30 in regards to some freight that I'm trying to get in line for you. And I don't know, maybe that's what those emails were. They're wanting me to contact them a little sooner than that, or rescheduling, or what. But so yeah, I'm hoping I can get all of that in place this week. But yeah, definitely we got to get something fired up.
Yeah, I think that could be a good deal. I mean, the friendship relationship's already there, bro.
Yep.
If we can find a way to give each other some life and keep each other going, that'd be a good deal.
For sure.
But whenever you want, Tim, just give me a call.
Okay, will do.
All right, brother, and thank you for letting me have this time to talk to people.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Like I said, again, I appreciate you coming on, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I plan on doing this again with Mike sometime. And I do have an update coming up from DAT. on the new DAT1. So be looking forward to that sometime in the near future here. Just kind of getting some more details from them on that. And till next time, be kind to one another. Bye-bye now.
All right, brother. You have a good day.
You too.
Thank you.